Wortox's skill tree. It's so powerful. Let's just get right into it. Except let's go over the first thing that actually hasn't, the first thing that isn't in the skill tree but was added since the update, which is if you have a heavy object like the suspicious marble pieces, you can now hop, you can soul hop while carrying them, which means you don't really need a B-flow to move the shadow pieces or any celestial altars because you can just soul hop across the map to deliver them. But the soul hop cost is double, so if you can see, it becomes 2 soul hops if I teleport to this grass tuft, but if I drop it, suddenly it's 1 soul hop, and 2 soul hops is all the way out there. It is twice as expensive to teleport while you're holding heavy objects, but that is cool and it's not hooked to the skill tree. So on this skill tree we have the nice side, the naughty side, and the neutral side, or the neutral middle. Depending on your balance of skills, you will gain up to 3 points for either inclination, and once you reach one or the other, you unlock the effect. So the nice inclination says your kindness has made your monster side no longer stir up trouble. This means that pigmen and stuff won't attack you on sight. They will be neutral like every other player, and eating or releasing souls will change sanity at an increased amount. So normally when you eat souls you lose sanity, and when you release souls you gain sanity. This just amplifies that, so you lose more sanity when you eat them, and when you release souls you will gain more sanity. On the naughty side, it says your greed stops you from overloading of soul power for a moment. So once you grab more than 20 souls, normally you instantly drop them, but with this skill unlocked, or with this inclination, for a few seconds Wortox will say that he's overloading, but then he won't drop them instantly. You have time to drop them yourself before you overload. Then eating or releasing souls will no longer change sanity, and then souls heal you for less. So now eating or releasing souls, yeah, doesn't make your sanity go up or down, but souls heal you for 15 rather than for 20. Anyway, onto the skill tree. First we have Lifebringer 1, learn how to channel souls into a twin-tailed heart, a creation used to revive ghostly friends. This unlocks this recipe right here. Costing 10 Wortox souls, you can make the twin-tailed heart. Remember to always bring a Mr. Myther with you for testing. If Wilson was to be unfortunately annihilated by souls, by meteors, you can use a twin-tailed heart to revive him, but he gets a max health penalty. That's no good. So we'll move on to the next skill. It says your ghostly friends will no longer suffer health penalties when you revive them with a twin-tailed heart. So now when you revive them with a twin-tailed heart, they do not receive a max health penalty. That's all that does. And to unlock this skill, I need to unlock some other skills real quick. Hold on. And now, Lifebringer 3, allow the twin-tailed heart to be used by another, which will pull them to you from near or far. Using it yourself will free the souls inside. So if you just squeeze this now, you just get like, what, 6 souls back? Oh goodness, they get dropped. That's a quick release of souls, I suppose. Here you go, Wilson. Squeeze it, Mr. Wilson. So now, if Wilson squeezes it, what? He just got sucked up into a cloud and then he teleports near me. So when any player does that, it teleports them to the Wortox who made the twin-tailed heart. So now I'm going to drop another one and I'm going to go somewhere else. Oh, now I'm just chilling at a cave entrance. Oh my goodness, surprise Wilson teleported to me because I gave him a twin-tailed heart. And so I had some people asking, what if they teleport to you while you're in the caves? If they do that, it doesn't work. So if I went into the caves and then Wilson tried to teleport, it should not work because you're on different it becomes examinable instead of squeezable. So there you go. You can't teleport to the caves. You have to be on the same. If Wilson was in the caves, then he could teleport to me. But if he's on the surface and I'm in the caves, or vice versa, then it doesn't work. Reaching souls 1. Drop souls will heal at an increased range. Very cool. Then this one is actually changed recently, so it's actually quite good. Drop souls will move towards hurt players and heal at an increased range. So the increased range, again, that's cool. But this one, drop souls will move towards hurt players. Let me show you how this works. So I just got to drop a shadow meteor on Wilson real quick. And then if you're within range of a hurt player, so you still have to be within range, you can see the soul drifts towards them and then explodes so that it heals. And in this case, because I'm hurt as well, it doesn't drift anywhere because my health is not 100%. But if my health is 100%, it drifts towards the Wilson. Now, like I said, you do have to actually be within range. So even though Wilson is hurt, he's still not getting healed and the soul isn't going towards him because you do need it. There you go. You still need to be within range and then it will drift towards them. This means that during a boss fight, if Wilson was running away from the boss, they wouldn't run out of the healing range of the soul or decrease the chances of it. Next is Soul Bastion 1. Drop souls will do a second healing wave for a low amount after a delay. It will do 1 bit of healing of 20 and then, see that small soul? Wow, an extra 50% healing because it did 20 healing, then after a delay, did an extra 10 healing. And what this also means that I didn't really think about is it has longer to glide towards the player, because the second healing wave will continue gliding towards the player. That is pretty cool. Lastly, we have drop souls will move faster towards hurt players, the second healing wave will happen quicker, and souls are more efficient at healing multiple players. So now when I drop a soul, it zooms towards the hurt player as fast as it would zoom towards me if it got dropped by a boss, which is really cool. So if you're playing support Wortox, you don't really need to keep track of who's getting hit, because you can just drop the soul and it will travel towards the most hurt player. And then the second healing wave happens quicker, and souls are more efficient at healing multiple players. This means for each additional player that needs healing, the soul will heal everyone for 1 less. That is decreased, so it does half at each. So you hit him with a shadow meteor, so now we get healed for 19 each, whereas normally it would be 18 each. Moving on, we have Lifted Spirits 1. Souls waiting to be freed in a soul echo will enhance your movement speed. This is pretty neat. So when you soul hop, you gain an echo. That echo is just basically a free teleport if you use the teleport before the timer runs out, but the timer ran out. So now when you teleport, when the soul echo is active, which is that green timer, you can see by your feet you've got some soul things happening, so you're moving a bit faster. So someone in my comments did point out something quite useful with this. The fastest way to teleport as Wortox is just to spam teleport, but if you wanted to be a bit more resource conservative, you can teleport, run with the increased movement speed right before the echo expires, and then use the echo teleport. So yeah, you can do that. It makes you move faster. Cool. Then you have Lifted Spirits 2. Soul echo duration is increased. So that timer that we saw is now, it takes a bit longer to expire, which is cool, which means more movement speed or more time to use the soul echo. Next is Reverberation. This one's really good. Soul echo will happen a second time. This does not decrease soul hop costs from the map. So now when you soul hop once, you get your first echo. Then you echo, and then it refreshes and you get a second echo, so you can teleport again. So now for 1 soul, you can travel this far. So I'm going to start at this grass tuft. From this grass tuft, I can teleport from, go there, to there, to there. Look how far I just traveled, from here to there. As you can see with the soul echo, it's much more efficient to echo your way across the map rather than teleporting. If I teleport back to this grass stuff, it will consume 2 souls. Whereas by using the double soul echo, it only cost me 1 soul. 1 soul for the first teleport, and then 2 echoes to get me all the way up there. So this is really good, and also this has effects later with the affinity skills. But first we have Capricious Movement. Soul hop cost from the map will be reduced by how much of the current world's land has been explored. So I'm going to reveal the map, but basically the soul hop cost will be reduced based on how much land mass you've uncovered. So it does not count the ocean, only the land mass. And yeah, I just revealed the map, and teleporting from this grass tuft out to here only costs 1 soul. So once you've uncovered like 2/3 of the map, it becomes as efficient to use soul, like the map teleporting, or even more efficient than using the hop with 2 echoes. So yeah, map teleporting is just as efficient as soul echoing, although you get kind of scammed with this skill. So as you can see, I'm on the other side of the map. If I went to teleport to Lunar Island, it will cost me 20 souls. Now you might think it would have cost more than 20 souls if I didn't have the skill unlocked, but whether you have the skill unlocked or not, 1 soul hop cannot cost more than 20 souls. So if you're teleporting massive distances, the skill doesn't actually do anything because it will still cost 20 souls. But otherwise, it's very good, so you should probably unlock it. Now that is the nice side. Now we're moving on to all of the neutral skills. Starting with Impromptu Flutist, or Flautist. You periodically feel a musical pull to play your flute. Pan flutes will not lose durability 1 time when feeling this urge to play. So I believe this is once per day. And you can see I've got these little musical icons over the pan flute. When I blow it, it uses the pan flute without using up a use. So this means every so often you can just get a free pan flute use. Now this has good implications with this one. Pleasant Pastoral. Playing your pan flute with such pleasing notes will bring your souls around for a listen. Now what this does is whenever you blow the pan flute, you will get a bunch of souls spawning around you. 6 souls to be exact. This applies whenever you use the pan flute, so whether it's the free use you get every day or so, or if it's you just need a backup, you need a bunch of souls real quick, so you just blow your pan flute. This turns a pan flute into storage of up to like 60 souls. But usually what it boils down to is you're going to hold your pan flute and you're just going to blow it whenever you get the free pan flute use to get the souls. Then lastly you have Cloudy Carmen. Things waking up after your pan flute playing will not be able to become hostile towards you for a moment. This one is not super amazing, but if you put things to sleep, and then they wake up, they're not becoming hostile to me instantly. It will take a few seconds before they'll be hostile. There you go, now he's hostile. So there you go, that's what that one does. Probably skip that one, it's not amazing. Then you have the affinity skills. The affinity skills will cover last because, yes, you'll see why. So this is how the scales balance. If I pick like 3 naughty skills, I get the naughty inclination. But then if I pick 3 nice skills, you can see it takes away from over there. So 3 ones, now I'm back in the middle. If you pick 3 more of one than the other, then you unlock the other inclination. So that's how the inclinations work. Now, knapsacker. You've hung around Krampus enough to create a knapsack for your own item stealing desires. Packs a punch depending on how full your inventory is. So now using 4 souls and 2 silk, which is really cheap, you can craft the knapsack. Yo, is that a crab sack? Yo, where did you get that crab sack, Wortox? That's crazy. Anyway, so regardless of how much backpack space you have, as long as you use up all but 4 of your inventory spaces, the knapsack will do maximum damage. So its damage increases with how full your inventory is. And there we go, we have 4 inventory spaces left, so that's how full your inventory needs to be. And now I do 34 damage per hit. If your inventory is not very full, you will do not a lot of damage, only 13.6 damage per hit. That's not very good, so yeah. Fill up your inventory, but don't worry, it gets more powerful later. The knapsack does a few other things in that it can nab things on the floor, which is pretty cool. So if you've got a floor with a bunch of loot on it, or a bunch of grass, or a bunch of stuff you want to pick up, you could just nab it. It nabs it. It uses up a bunch of durability, but it's worth it because it just picks everything up. It's very cool. It means that picking up wooden stuff after bears ran through a forest might be a bit quicker, which is cool. And also, the knapsack can be used as a butterfly net. When you use it as a bug net, it effectively has 20 uses, and as you can see, it nabs them. So it nabbed 6 of them at once. In reality, that wouldn't actually happen. Nab. There you go. So if you get a few butterflies in a close area, you can nab all of them at once. But yeah, so you can catch 20 things per knapsack because then it runs out of durability and breaks. So yeah, it can be used up as a butterfly net as well, which is pretty cool. 20 use butterfly net, or bug net I mean. Next we have soul jar. Learn how to craft and use a soul jar to store souls for later use. Soul jars will leak souls over time when not in your inventory. Basically, you're never going to want to have these soul jars in storage. You're always going to have them in your inventory. But they require an empty bottle, which are things that spawn on the ocean, 2 marble and a red gem. These are very simple. You can simply store up to 40 souls inside of them. There we go, 40 souls in the soul jar. So this way you can farm souls not very often because you can store them in the soul jars. And you can hold as many soul jars as you like. So you can carry like 5, 10 soul jars if you want. Realistically, you kind of want like 2 or 3, but 4 is like the maximum because after that you don't really get much benefit other than holding just a ridiculous amount of souls. If you shift click to pull these souls out of the jar, it's pretty smart in that it won't automatically overload you with souls. It'll still pull out only the maximum amount that you can hold. So it's still pretty neat. Soul jars are very good. Next is overflowing greed. Holding soul jars increases your maximum souls allowed to be held at once by 5 each, stopping you from overloading of soul power. With this unlocked, whether your soul jars are full or not, every soul jar in your inventory increases the amount of souls you can hold by 5. Now this is why you don't really care for more than 4 jars. Let me show you why. Oh, you can see this is the naughty inclination at work, by the way. I've given myself way too many souls, but it stops me from overloading in souls for a brief moment, so I have time to move them around. So now the reason 4 soul jars is the upper limit. You can see when I spawn some Jakeyosaurus and kill them, what's happening is the souls are dropping, but they actually can't get into my inventory. So as you can see, this soul would overload me, but instead of trying to go into my inventory, since I have the max stack of souls, it tries to make a new soul stack, but because my inventory is full, it just gets automatically dropped. What this means is in fights like Fuel Weaver, when you have lots of minions which spawn lots of souls, it means you can have 4 soul jars and 40 souls, but otherwise automatically drop all of the excess souls by filling up your inventory. Since the stack cannot go above 40, it will try to make a new stack, but there's no inventory space. And that is why 4 jars, you probably don't want more than 4 jars. Realistically, 1 or 2 is nice, but 4 is like the maximum. Moving on to Covetous Collector. Held souls and souls inside of soul jars increase both the damage of the knapsack and the damage of souls up to 100 total souls collected. Ignore the damage of souls so far because we'll get to that later. But the knapsack damage up to 100 souls collected. Your knapsack now does up to 68 damage, which means it's as powerful as a dark sword. And it says up to 100 total souls collected. What that boils down to is you can have 2 soul jars with 40 souls in each, that's 80, and then you can hold 30 souls. This is 110 souls, so it means you can use 10 souls, but after that you start losing damage because, you know, you drop below 100 souls. So now I'm doing 67.66, and the more souls you lose, the more damage you will lose. And that's why you probably want 3 jars, because that means you could use up all of the souls in your inventory and tap into half of a soul jar's worth of souls and still have max damage from your knapsack. So yeah, also a very good skill. Unless you have a different weapon that you want to use, of course. The next we have Soul Thief. Souls are created and attracted to you from further away. This is actually pretty good, because what this means is if a creature dies further away, it will still generate a soul, and it will like see you from further away, so it will become attracted to you. That means you will just get more souls because you'll miss less of them. Then you have souls will last longer while being attracted to you. Now what this does is if you get a soul and it starts coming towards you, if you had enough speed bonus, you can run away from the soul, and usually they time out quite fast, but this skill makes it so they don't time out as fast, so they can travel to you for longer. They still do eventually time out, as you just saw, but it just means, again, that you'll lose less souls. Next is Soul Pierce. Souls attracted to you will hurt other creatures with souls along its path. Souls causing damage? Just spawn a couple spiders. See that soul? Oh my goodness, it just pierced that spider. When it pierced that spider, it did 31.9 damage. Look at that. It's like air effect damage from my souls. Amazing. Bam! A bit of a domino effect. As soon as one spider starts dying, they all start dying. There we go, look at that. Yummy. So that's what Soul Pierce does. And as we read earlier, this having up to 100 souls with this skill active increases the Soul Pierce damage. So that was up to 31.9. But if I drop all of my souls, now the soul does 25.5 damage. So the amount of damage you get from having 100 souls with Soul Pierce is not huge. The minimum damage is 25.5, and then after that it goes up to 31.9. So it's not a huge difference. I wouldn't really worry about having souls just for increasing the Soul Pierce damage. But now we have Soul Pierce 2. Souls attracted to you will repel away initially before coming towards you. This seems like a small change, but it's actually very huge. So now if I just kill a spider and we watch what happens to its soul, it goes away from me, then comes back. This is a big difference because, you know, when enemies are chasing you, they'll then walk directly into the soul, and basically each soul does just a ton more damage because it repels back first before traveling back through the enemies. Which means Soul Pierce is your #1 way to farm souls. It makes farming souls so much easier, because once you kill 1 or 2 enemies, the rest of the souls will pierce the other enemies, dealing damage, causing them to die, which make them spawn more souls, and etc, etc. More souls equals more death, equals more souls equals more death. So this one is really good for farming souls. Lastly, we have Soul Decoy. Then we have Soul Decoy 1. Soul hopping for the first hop leaves behind a soul decoy to draw the attention of nearby creatures with souls targeting you. Oh goodness, a horde of spiders, what am I to do? If I teleport away, when you do a soul hop away, not a soul echo doesn't count, but when you soul hop away, you get a little decoy, and that will momentarily distract the enemies that are chasing you, and they will attack it, and when they attack it, it takes 1 damage, then it dies. So, which is, you know, that's pretty neat, I suppose. It can draw aggro away. It can make you maybe miss getting hit once or twice. I distract a mob of monkeys so you can get away. Then we have Soul Decoy 2. Soul Decoys will now stay around for a bit longer if they are unharmed. This just makes it so they don't time out as fast, which is whatever, cool. But the last one, Soul Decoy 3. Soul Decoys will now explode and inflict damage on things lured by it or attacking you upon exploration. So now we've got a horde of spiders. I just poke one, and I teleport away. It attacks them, and it pops. Did you see how much damage it did? Did that do 63 damage? That used to only do 51 damage. I'm just gonna humbly teleport away. Pop, 51.1 damage. So it would seem that having 100 souls also buffs the soul decoys damage as well, which I didn't realize, but hey, there you go. So you hold up to 100 souls, it also buffs its damage. From 51 up to like 68, I think it was. From 51 to... Oh, they all died. 95? Wait, why is this doing so much damage? 95? Since when does the soul decoy do that much damage? 95 damage? Having enough souls almost doubles that. That's crazy. But there you go. Up to 95 damage with enough souls. And lastly, the affinity skills. Lunar Swindler says the Cryptic Founder will reward your curiosity by showing you power from wearing a Bright Shade helmet or Bright Shade armor. Souls waiting to be freed in a Soul Echo will absorb incoming damage and expire the timer. So you can use the Bright Shade body or helmet. This of course requires you to unlock the rifts on the surface, so after Celestial Champion. So now I can use a Soul Hop to invulnerability frame one attack, then my Soul Echo will completely negate the next attack. But it doesn't quite end there. Do you remember the Reverberation skill? If we also unlock Reverberation, which if you recall, lets our Soul Echo happen for a second time. Now I can Soul Hop to dodge an attack. And then the first Soul Echo will negate the first attack, and then the second Soul Echo negates the second attack. Then I can just do that again. I frame the first attack, and then negate the next two attacks with my Soul Echoes. Now if you mess up the iframe like that, and you end up getting hit, then your first Soul Echo will just get consumed instantly, and then your second Soul Echo will actually block an attack. Like there, I teleported too late. So there you go, that's what that does. Pretty cool. What this means is you can teleport, iframe an attack, then hold F, and once your Soul Echoes run out, you can just instantly teleport, or you can iframe an attack like that, and then you can just hold F again. So it means that you don't have to dodge, because the Soul Echoes will just tank the damage for you, or tank the hits for you. Oh, that teleported too early there. So this effectively increases your damage since you don't need to kite or like teleport excess times. But in the cases of enemies that do knockback damage, so who knock you back when they do an attack, as you can see, it blocks the attack fully, but I still got knocked back, which means I can't just hold F. Because, you know, it will knock me back, which kind of negates the whole purpose. So there you go, it completely negates the stagger and the damage, but not the knockback. So, pretty strong affinity. So, the Shadow affinity must also be pretty good, right? Yes, it is. Shadow Harvester says the Queen will reward your loyalty by unlocking power from wielding a Shadow Reaper. Souls waiting to be freed in a Soul Echo will cause damage dealt to spread out to close enemies or hit one target twice and expire the timer. So whereas the other one required, you know, Celestial Champion, this requires Fuel Weaver because you need the Void Gear. So let's use Beradra as an example again. So now if we attack Beradra, he's going to attack back. We can iframe his attack, and then you can see our Soul Echoes. With one Soul Echo, it does double damage, 112 damage, rather than the normal 56. Now what this means is that you can iframe an attack, do 2 hits, then iframe again, and you can keep getting double damage. So it's quite an aggressive way to play, and if you mess it up, you know, you will take the hit. But it means it's kind of, you get a little bit more damage. Oh, like there, I just messed up because I got hit by the slam. But it means that the Soul Echoes get used up for more damage rather than defense utility. And just, I can't help myself. So, you know, you've killed Fuel Weaver, so you've got all access to all the Void Gear, and you've got Bone Armor. So let me just show you what this looks like in practice. So he does an attack, you iframe that attack, then you get double damage twice, then you iframe that attack, double damage twice, all while the Soul Decoy is harassing them. Do some double damage, iframe the butt slam, then do double damage again. You're all over the boss. Of course, if you iframe and then you teleport too early and you use up a Soul Echo, you're now attacking without double damage. So it does, if you mess up the teleport so you don't teleport in time, then you will lose a bit of damage. Once you Soul Hop, you do need to consume those Soul Echoes by double attacking. Otherwise, yeah, it kind of wastes Soul Echo. Otherwise, you just don't get your bonus damage. Oh my goodness, what the hell? Art? Beefalo? Excellent. So now in practice, holding F with this versus teleporting with this to do double damage, this is usually better damage, but it's like more susceptible to, if you mess up, you'll get interrupted a lot. Whereas if you mess this up, it just means you'll get only 1 immune hit rather than 2. And here is the other effect of this, is when you Soul Hop, so it'll pop, and then when I attack, it does air effect damage. So it either does double damage to a single target, or it will do air effect damage. Which, you know, makes it better for, you know, farming things. If you've got 100 spiders, you do a quick teleport, they attack this, you do 2 AoE hits, they start dying, and then Soul Pierce starts killing them. Bam, we love AoE damage. So yeah, all these skills together make it really nice to farm souls. Look at all these delicious souls. Mmm, yummy. Delicious. And there you go, that's Wortox's skill tree. Now, recommended skill tree. For a recommended skill tree, if you're playing support Wortox, you probably want to unlock basically all of the nice side, because it's actually very good. All of the nice side is very good, but I don't play in multiplayer all that often. So before Fuel Weaver, I would use this as a skill tree. This because you want to use your knapsack for extra damage, because you don't have access to the Void Scythe. This is just 10% extra damage versus lunar enemies like Celestial Champion, and this is nice for getting souls whenever you have a pan flute. But then once you've killed Fuel Weaver, you still want to unlock this. This is really good. You definitely want the affinity. You want the soul jars because that's good, but you don't need this anymore because you're not going to be using the knapsack. Then you probably want all of the soul pierce, all of a soul decoy, and there you go. That is the post Fuel Weaver skill tree for Wortox. So those are the 2 recommended skill trees. Of course, if you're playing support Wortox, like I said, you probably want to unlock this and unlock this. But there you go. That is Wortox's skill tree explained. I'm gonna go do a Wortox boss rush now. Bye bye. Go to the main channel if you want to see it. It will be out at some point, perhaps. Yes.